Welcome to another Wisdom podcast. We got Michael Maher with us. Trying to pronounce that name right. Maher. March.
Yep, you did. You said it perfectly, man.
Chief Idea Officer. So that's a cool title. I think it's the first time I see it, Mike, at Cartology. Did a great course on CXL called Selling on Marketplaces. He's also host of The Longer Game, which is a podcast. And my dog is biting some sunglasses, trying to educate that little bastard. And you also started a bunch of startups like Train by Fire, Matters of the Cart. We're president at that. And let's not forget that you started as a store manager at Starbucks. We're going to talk about that. And you love music, you love fitness. You're an interesting guy. So really honored to have you on the pod today. This podcast is brought to you by podfire.com. If people want to start, scale, be invited to a podcast like this one. Podcasts are amazing to get to know people like Michael, learn from them, get insights from them, and build a backend, build a community, subscribers, even get leads and clients off podcasting, podfire.com. Mike, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a bit more about Cartology.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Charles. I appreciate the kind words. And Cartology is a really full channel management service agency for Amazon. It is a very complicated channel, and we help you to simplify that by creating strategy for you, with you, and then we go out and execute on the channel. Amazon really requires a couple of disciplines. Catalog, a big one. Is your catalog live? Are people able to see your product? Do you have enough product? You have to deal with Amazon's kookiness, wanting to miscategorize your product sometimes too. So that's a challenge. We work on the creative side as well. So helping people to get conversion ready listings, and then advertising is really the last piece of the puzzle, sending traffic to your product detail page to get people to convert. And Amazon has leaned a lot into the advertising side of things. If you want to scale and grow your business, you have to spend money on ads, and you need to know how to do it in the right way, most efficiently. And we got started about 6 years ago. Team's 100% remote, which is awesome. So we've got talent from all across the world, and it's an exciting time to be a part of the Amazon ecosystem.
So we started pre-pod saying that, if I'd have to restart my physical product business, it'd be definitely by using Amazon, and by also doubling down on cold emailing and B2B and getting in stores. I think there's major points to be won there. And basically Amazon ads, I had a bunch of agencies this year. A lot of them have been quite productive. We had good success with them because a lot of D2C brands are looking to get on there and can just invest some more and see the returns. How's it been going this year compared to the COVID years? And like this year, there's like inflation and so forth. So how's been that for you?
This has been a really big, I would say, leveling year for a lot of brands right now. They are finding out that it's not as easy as it was when the pandemic happened. And it might sound crazy to think that, it was easy for businesses, but if you were in e-commerce space, when the pandemic hit, yes, there was like a month of uncertainty, and then people's purchase behavior drastically changed to e-commerce. There was about 10 years worth of growth that happened overnight. I think e-commerce purchases went from about 12% of all retail to 16% within a quarter. And it had only been going up by about 0.5% each year for the past decade. So it grew substantially. And that meant that because there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of people came into the market. So there was a lot of increased sales, a lot more demand. There's a lot more, I would say, product selection as well, just new brands, new founders. And there was something interesting that happened in the Amazon space where these venture capitalists raised a bunch of money, and they came in and started buying up Amazon native businesses, or what a lot of people call FBA businesses, and it stands for fulfillment by Amazon. It means Amazon's, sending the product in. That's not really a business model. It's just FBA is a fulfillment method, but a lot of people were relying upon their businesses and strictly on Amazon. And so that can be great because you got a lot of opportunity, but it can also be a crutch because if something happens where Amazon traffic changes, Amazon shuts down your business, whatever the case might be, you've now only got one channel. And so omni-channel is really the way to go for brands. My agency just handles the Amazon side of things. This year has been difficult because of, like you said, there's been inflation. People have there's been a lot more cost on almost everything. And so people are being a little bit more fastidious with their purchases, not necessarily spending as much or spending on different things. I think in these times of situations or economic stands, people start to go back to value items. If they were, shopping at Target, maybe now they're shopping at Walmart because it's cheaper. They were buying a name brand, maybe now they're buying a generic item. So I think this has been a time where people have really had to understand, do I have a good hold on my target audience? Do I know who my target audience is? And am I able to outlast, anyone else that's in the space right now because of how competitive it is? So there's been brands that we've seen that have had to say, we're calling it quits. That's been a really difficult scenario for people having to say, we just don't have the money, or it doesn't make sense for us to keep going. I've seen some brands that are leaning into it and saying, hey, we want to grow, we want to increase. We know that we have less cash, but we really want to see things grow for us. And we want to lean in, and we encourage that, because when the pandemic hit, a lot of people wanted to just stop advertising. They wanted to stop everything altogether. And we said, don't do that, because everyone else is going to want to do that because they're scared. But this is the time to gain advantage and get increased sales velocity, which means better placement in search results on Amazon. So it's been a tough year. I think there's going to be more brands that leave this year. But from an agency perspective, I'm continuing to find people that either have not launched on Amazon, or they're on Amazon and they're not getting the results that they want, and we're signing clients. And so there's still a big opportunity there. I think you just have to be willing to be persistent because of the increase in cost and people being, like I said, fastidious with their purchases. You have to spend a lot more time getting people in the sales cycle, talking them through stuff, making sure they feel more confident, and getting them to sign, to really move forward with Amazon.
And what's your success rate with clients? Isn't the platform getting saturated right now?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's definitely saturation that's happening. I think the advantage, though, is knowing how to work and run the marketplace. Part of the people that are getting saturated on there don't necessarily know that, and you have to kind of have the cojones to stick in there. But when you start advertising on Amazon, don't expect to see a good return. It's not like Google Ads. It's not like any other platform where this is my performance, and so I'm going to cut this, I'm going to kill this, I'm going to keep this going. You are absolutely spending to get better placement in search. So if you don't see the results right away and you kill your ads, you may end up not getting the performance that you want long-term. So we've got an advantage because we know how the marketplace works. We know where to look for data. But yeah, it's absolutely being saturated. And so people have to really know and understand, do I have the right product selection? Do I have the right product? Is my product even something that can benefit people? And I think that's part of the reason why people are leaving the industry. They realize, okay, there's just not a big enough moat around our product.
Right. And let's call that you have a beauty client that signs up with you. They invest probably 5K in your services and 20K in Amazon ads. What kind of returns can they expect?
It's a great question. You're pretty close, on the money. And I would say first couple months, I would not expect more than a 1-to-1 RoAS. I would even expect maybe like a 0.5, because especially if you're just launching, there's big brands like L'Oreal, the Max, the Bobby Browns, whomever is willing to spend more money on Amazon in the advertising sector, and they've been on there for a while. So if you're getting newly launched, you have to be willing to spend and deal with a 0.5 ROAS for a couple months. The thing, though, to be aware of is you can't just spend and not see anything. What you should be looking for is, are you ranking higher in search results for the terms that you're going after? If you're not, it's not working, the terms aren't relevant, or people aren't seeing the product as relevant. Maybe you need to do some optimization of your listing. If you are, keep going, double down.
Right. And your agency, how do you get your new clients typically? Do you do cold email outreach with AI just like I do?
So we do cold email outreach, not with AI, but we do cold email outreach. We connect with people. I connect with people on LinkedIn, send direct messages. Really, I do a lot of video messages, and that gets a much better response than just text, since people are blowing you up on text inside of LinkedIn. But I think if you position yourself right, you can get someone to respond to a message if you're focusing on them instead of yourself. The biggest red flag that I see is someone's like, hey, I do this, and I'm great and I'm awesome. And let me tell you more about myself. And instant glaze over. So another thing would be we have a lot of good referral partners that send people in. We're starting to get more traffic to our site as well. So we're starting to get some inbound stuff as well. But I'm definitely pretty dogged on the outbound stuff too.
Right. And how much leads you get on a monthly basis? And what's your closing rate at the moment?
It's a good question. So I've done a lot of work on the sales side. And so I've seen a big improvement. I don't need a ton of leads for me to be successful. I just need the right ones on an ongoing basis. I mean, I'm probably getting maybe let's say 40 a month. In some cases, I'm getting maybe 20 on discovery calls, and my close rate's about 22% right now.
That's pretty good. Do you pick some specific niches to go after? Are you specialized in beauty or cosmetics, for example?
We do work with a good amount of beauty brands, cosmetics brands, a lot of personal care, I would say too. We don't discriminate on who we won't work with. Although we don't, there are some categories that are a little bit more touchy than others. We've worked with supplement brands. We work with, CPG brands, those in home and garden, patio, lawn and garden, home, household. What else? Beauty. We talked about that. Food and beverage as well. Apparel, any kind of lifestyle brand, someone who's got, really, I would say, targeted audience, and the product just really speaks to the audience. We'll work with them as well. The biggest thing is they need to have some kind of brand clout, meaning they need to have a story, they need to have a target audience, and they need something that people can actually latch onto. Because you can sell products on Amazon. You don't need a brand to be successful on Amazon. But if you want to stick around long term, you need something that's going to get people to come back and say, oh, I'm going to search for, Charles's water gear. I'm not just going to be searching for flippers. I'm going to be looking for your specific brand.
Right. And what can you do that's like innovative and not out there in terms of other Amazon agencies to yield better results for your clients? For example, I had a client that I think he was starting to do video ads, if I'm not mistaken, on Amazon. There were also some remarketing, advanced remarketing pipeline and custom product retargeting. So what do you do differently than other Amazon agencies out there?
I think one of the biggest things that we do, I don't know that it's a service specific thing. I mean, we're doing all the stuff we can in advertising. We're utilizing search. We're utilizing DSP, Amazon's programmatic platform. We're getting, I would say from a creative perspective, we're getting really bold imagery out there when it comes to any place that we have an opportunity to create media assets. We're trying to go bold. That doesn't mean busy, but bold, simple, and something that really speaks to the consumer. Leveraging video. We are, from a catalog perspective, really being persistent with Amazon, following up, making sure that, if there's an error, an issue, we're getting it resolved. I think some of the biggest things are just taking extreme ownership with our clients. We're showing up and saying, hey, we're treating this like it were our business and we want it to be successful. It's not just sign another client, and then, 5 go out the back door every time we sign 10 or whatever the case might be. We're really trying to focus on retention. So it means extreme ownership. It means we're playing the long game with them. We're saying, hey, what can we do now so that you can stick around long term instead of just focusing on the short wins? You need short wins, but what can we do now that's actually going to help you to be successful in the long run? And then just really focusing on the brand side of things as well. That's I think somewhat of a differentiator because there's a lot of product-based businesses out there. That's at least who we serve. That's a little bit of a differentiator.
You think agencies can scale?
Absolutely.
That's controversial.
But it's difficult. It's very difficult to do. I think people like to say that word scale, but one of the biggest errors, and it's something that I've even noticed in my own agency that I've had to correct, is the operational side of things. If you don't know what your operational system is, you got to figure it out. And if you think you can just bring on more talent and bring on more clients, it's not that easy. It takes looking inward and saying, do we have the right system? Are we focusing on the right things? If you say yes to everyone and every single thing, you're going to fail. And that's one of the biggest things is people think about scaling and it's sexy and it's cool to think about bringing more money, but are you also retaining the clients too? And what does that say about your reputation? So we've had to do a lot of work this year on what does our onboarding process look like? We got feedback like, hey, this could be better. And we asked for feedback. This could have been better. We noticed problems that came up. So we fixed that. We turned around, worked on it. We've seen a much better onboarding success with clients. And then once we do that onboarding process, we run a postmortem and say what went well, what didn't go well, how do we repeat the good stuff, how do we fix the bad stuff, and then iterate the next time. So the operations piece is huge. It's not easy to do. It takes a while to both figure out your correct system and to change it. And it also means you have to be willing to see people go or let people go, because not everyone's going to be on board. So if you're saying we're going to start being more accountable, we're going to do this service, people are going to say, I don't want to do that. If your focus and goal is for your agency to be successful, you're going to have to say, okay, that's fine. You go your way. We're going to focus on what we do best.
AI scale. Are you leveraging AI to deliver better and more predictable results with your client?
There are some ways that we're able to leverage AI right now on the Amazon side. One of them is when it comes to content writing. We can take keyword research and we can turn it into like copy a lot faster. It still requires a human touch to go through, make sure it makes sense, make sure it's readable. And then one of the other things really from an agency perspective is content creation for us. So leveraging that to create better content, create it quicker, allow one person to do a little bit more work. We're still trying to find other ways to incorporate it. Always open to that as well, which I'm sure you've got some ideas, but we're seeing more things become incorporated, and Amazon's always used AI and some automation, algorithms, bots in a lot of the things that they do. And so I'm expecting to see more of that pop up, over the next year or two, especially with all the buzz around generative AI.
I want to ask about your podcast. Why did you started it, and did you reach the objectives you set for yourself with that pod?
I started it because I wanted to talk to brand owners in a way that just being an agency owner, I don't think you can do. I wanted to have a little bit more relatability. I wanted to bring people on that could actually benefit them. So, like I said, I believe in being omni-channel. We focus on the Amazon side. I wanted to bring people on that focused on e-commerce, direct to consumer. I wanted to focus on people that worked in retail. I wanted to focus on people that were SaaS providers that are accountants for these brands. I wanted to bring on everyone that's a part of the ecosystem and make sure that these brands had someone that was in the trenches. And that's one of the things that I've discovered is it's not just, a bunch of CEOs talking about we're doing this stuff and theorizing. It's people that are really in the trenches that are doing the work. And I'd say we're starting to get more visibility. We're not where I want us to be. I definitely want us to continue to grow, to reach more people, to get more content out there. But we're starting to see success. We're starting to see more people recognize the podcast, and we're definitely getting good people on to talk, which I think is a testament to what we put out there.
Really cool. And have you got clients and leads off the pod?
We've gotten some leads. I haven't gotten any clients yet. Still working on that, but it's definitely an opportunity for sure.
What's the back end of your pod? Is it like a newsletter, or what do you have to keep them in the loop?
To keep the guests or to keep
The audience, everyone.
Right now, it's really just social media. We need to do a better job, or just do a job of building an email list, because I think that's something that could be another way to reach and direct people. We're trying to be, we're working on being a lot more visible on the social side of things and pushing content to all the platforms. I think we've got good content to push out, just doing it consistently. We're starting to see slow results, but I think email marketing would be something cool to do. We do take all of our podcasts and turn them into transcriptions and post those on the site. So if someone does want to read it, it's a lot to read, but it's also content that Google can crawl to at least keep our website somewhat relevant. So
where can people find out more about you, Mike?
You can go to LinkedIn. You can find me there, Michael Maher. You could go to Twitter at Michael J. Maher. You could go to thinkcartology.com. If you want to grow on Amazon, Think Cartology. That's my agency name, Cartology. You could go to the longer game, any podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anything like that. You can go to any of those sites and find out more, or you can just email me, Michael at thinkcartology.com, and I'll respond.
Thank you so much. That was Michael Maher with H Maher. Mars, sort
Yes.
of Maher. Thank you so much, Mike.